It's Tuesday night. Welcome to my fight show. Mika Frankl live across the Cage Minds social medias. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and boy, do we have a show planned and in store for you this evening. Couldn't have done it without all the people that help behind the scenes. We are powered by Dubby. It's 10% off with the checkout code Cage Minds. Get yourself the energy to work the first shift, the second shift, and then even pull some overtime. What keeps me going, Dubby, got to credit them. We got Barber, Gabe's fades. Yeah, the cape and the hair looking good. And of course, it's the Barber R Us beard balm, keeping this beard in check and in submission to look good. Robbie Ray Images, huge shout out to them. And of course, Robbie Ray Media, who helps put together the video for Cage Minds Fight Hour, ESPN Radio, 1017 The Team. You hear that every Saturday. Having a cough right off the bat. Excuse me, everybody. Got that out of the way, though. Hopefully early. If you can, like, share, and subscribe. It's an easy little thing to do that goes a long way to help support and help expand what we're doing here at Cage Minds and My Fight Show. Big show tonight. First guest, couple minutes away. We've already confirmed with him. APFC former welterweight champion, Bellator veteran, APFC 22. He will be challenging James Pleasant for the lightweight title. The fight is rebooked. We will have Emmanuel Sanchez first up as our guest here tonight, about 6:15. So we get El Matador up first right away. We have Ozzy Chavez, Fight World 43. We have Josh Oxendine, BKFC fighter. And I believe we got some big news coming down about him and his future. And not to mention, also continuing to think about the APFC 22 card. We're going to have Mark Hussey on. So a lot to do tonight, a bunch of great guests planned. And I look forward to talking to each and every one of them. MMA After Hours is up at cageminds.com. Also, everywhere you find your favorite podcast. We talked to UFC Houston, Sean Strickland, a huge bounce back win over a year away. UFC Mexico, Floyd Mayweather's back, and why Conor Benn got paid in a way UFC fighters don't. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing Pro Wrestling After Hours. And I can just tell you, we already know it's this weekend. There's the Elimination Chamber. And on the AEW side, we're going to be talking about MJF, Swerve, the most dangerous man in the industry, the Death Riders versus the Callis family. Tickets are available right now. Get it, got it, bueno. Duke City Championship Wrestling, Saturday, March 28th, El Rey Theater. Professional wrestling, live and local. One more time. Look forward to seeing who the NWA sends down to the Duke City to fight our finest, as it seems to be a lot more of the big names from the NWA are traveling down this way because they've heard just how on fire the Albuquerque territory is, how professional wrestling is once again alive in the Southwest. And we know that's evident by having seen AEW, WWE, and TNA all down here within the last calendar year. You love some pro wrestling? Maybe you haven't seen it since you were a kid. March 28th, El Rey Theater. Or March 28th, as Nick Gonzalez broke the news on his social media earlier today. Nowhere to Run has been postponed. Major adjustments coming to Nowhere to Run. Major issues with the New Mexico Athletic Commission. It looks like under 18 amateur kickboxing competition is up in peril and maybe going away. We need the youth. We need the amateurs to get that experience. Not sure how we're going to see these guys get the necessary experience to become the champions like we've had here locally if they're not able to have the amateur competition. It's a huge issue. We're going to have Nick Gonzalez on next week to talk about it, but Nowhere to Run postponed from the 7th to March 28th. Also, does look like, though, may have some MMA and some professional kickboxing happening under the Nowhere to Run banner. The ever-changing, ever-growing, and for some reason, way too complex local combat sports scene with some more shaking news that shakes it to the core, to the fabric. Look forward to talking to Nick next week about that. And hopefully we're not crushing anybody right now, but under 18 competition not being allowed at the next event and the event being postponed. Nick is still appealing to the commission to see if the fights that were already in place can at least still happen as scheduled. We'll be keeping you up to date, obviously, at Cage Minds and next week right here on My Fight Show as we talk about this way. Again, I said way crazy and too complex of an issue. Mentioned it already, mention it once again. Each and every Saturday morning, 9 to 10. You can join me on ESPN Radio Albuquerque 1017. The team, the video is up on YouTube, courtesy of Robbie Ray Media. We have the Cage Minds Fight Hour. This past week, we were joined by Ben Wilson, owner, proprietor of the Bob Foster Museum, helped us get to know the first world champion boxer to come out of New Mexico a little bit better. This week, we'll be talking to martial artist and thespian, stuntman, combat sports coach, aficionado this weekend. Ray Yee joins us in the studio. Again, that one will be up on YouTube. We have a huge guest list going on tonight. We had a lot of great action last weekend, including BKB in London. It was BKB 51, and Marco Martignac proves why he is one of the most dominant fighters in bare knuckle. The Bridger weight champion makes an absolute statement. The first right hand he unleashes knocks down and cuts former heavyweight champion Ike Villanueva open. A flurry while trapping Villanueva in the corner for a second quick knockdown, and the third one just as quick. A right hook, left hook combination for the finishing touches on a masterpiece in 71 seconds. 14th win of his bare knuckle career, 9th by knockout. Martignac asked about if he'd be willing to go up at 225. Would he be willing to go up to the full heavyweight division and take on the unbeaten Gustavo Trujillo? He went all Rod Tidwell for us and said, show me the money and we can make the big fight happen. I think that'd be a huge one for BKB, and I would be all the interested to see that you guys that have just run roughshod over their divisions get it on two of the biggest guys that are under the banner. He said also you need to rethink the pound for pound rankings. Well, number one is Smash LT Nelson when we're talking about BKB, 2-division world champion. I think Cub Hawkins is off the top of my head after that, and Cub has just won his second world title. Gustavo Trujillo is unbeaten. So if Martignac is okay with me and not going to be too mad, I'll have him in there as number 4 in the top 5 right now. Just BKB, not trying to integrate BKFC, BKB. We could get to those fantasy matchups one day, but at least just talking about pound for pound in their own company, Martignac, dominant display. It's number 4, okay? Number 4, I think, is a really nice number. If you guys didn't get to see the card on Vice TV, Scott McGunna edged out Martin Rifle in a clinch heavy split decision. I think that the judges got it correct. I feel like the more active right hand of McGunna really did earn the right decision. It was a quick night of work for Kevin Greenwood. He took out Tony Barrett with one right uppercut, well placed right into the eye. That's how quick things can end in bare knuckle. An absolute barn burner. Your fight of the night was Anthony Scottford versus Joe Cocaine. big, heavy exchange of knockdowns in the first round. Cocaine overcomes being cut around his right eye. 2 knockdowns in the fourth round to the stoppage. Joe Cocaine looks like a very interesting entrant into the land of the giants there in BKB. Maybe he can make a few of you guys numb. With a title shot on the line and in the balance, Dan Gittins gets a second round finish of Corey Healy, who crumbles in pain, an apparent right hand injury. Gittins was supposed to fight friend of the show, Javon Wright with a last minute injury. Gittins says, I need to work. I need a paycheck. I want to fight. He comes out. He'd put all of this opportunity in the balance and comes through in a big way and has been assured of now once again getting his world title shot, a big victory with a huge amount of pressure on his back. Besides the bare knuckle boxing, which full article up at cageminds.com to hear about BKB 51. There is also your traditional boxing as Ryan Garcia with an early knockdown of Mario Barrios cruises to a decision win, accomplishes something that had eluded him for a while. This is his first world championship. A lot of people had questioned if he'd be able to fulfill what were some big expectations all along. One of the most polarizing figures in boxing. A lot of people had speculated with a loss, could this really have taken Garcia out of the spotlight? We don't have to worry about that. He's set up for another big fight, and it looked like now adding in a much more active, accurate right hand, his game seems to be coming fully together, and this is the right time for one of the big fights. The biggest fight that could possibly be made would be the Shakur Stevenson fight. Stevenson just absolutely dominant over Teofimo Lopez. Does say, I believe that fight was at 140, that he would like, if he's going to fight Garcia, for it to be a catchweight. Garcia just fighting at 47. He says it would need to be at 144 and insist on stringent drug testing. We know that there have been some issues before with Garcia and having popped, especially coming off the Devin Haney fight, which a lot of people look at as a possible second option. They have a real chemistry of hatred for each other. It's magnifying, it's polarizing, it's attention grabbing, it's headline making when the two of them and their camps are in a close proximity. You could also possibly see Conor Benn, newly signed $15 million for one fight to Zuffa Boxing. That kind of payday, that big of a name. A guy that has a couple losses, could be a winnable fight. Could you see Garcia being big business to bring a world champion, as they had with Jai, as they're doing with the former world champion Anthony Ruiz? If you use Conor Benn to be able to bring in a Stevenson, to bring in a Garcia, all the more for Zuffa Boxing to be able, for better them, to get into bigger headlines and these bigger fights, as we've seen kind of medium level endeavors so far from Zuffa Boxing. Well, we're sure they're going to make some big splashes this year. I've also seen Rolly Romero rematch being thrown out there as the fourth most likely and possible option for what is ahead for Ryan Garcia. King Ryan, first time getting a world championship, does it at welterweight. Marco Martignac, Emperor of Bare Knuckle, retains his Bridgerweight title. Two biggest fights from around the world this weekend that didn't have anything to do with the UFC. Full UFC talk, Sean Strickland talk at MMA After Hours, Pro Wrestling After Hours, Cage Minds Fight Hour, My Fight Show. You ever miss an episode of any of them, you want to catch up because you haven't been checking them out, Apple Podcasts, Spotify for every episode. Obviously, My Fight Show, Cage Minds Fight Hour, both also available if you'd like to watch on video on YouTube. Have a big show coming up today. We are moments away, any minute now, according to the clock. Emmanuel Sanchez, APFC title challenger, gonna be joining us. Look forward to hearing from Emmanuel Sanchez, any moment right now. Welterweight title, moved up 2 weight classes, where we saw him competing in Bellator to win that APFC welterweight title, returning to lightweight to try to go after a second title. Looks like he's in the gym. If we can get his attention, we'll bring him in here any second. If you're ready, let's bring him in right now. Let's get the party started.
What's going on, my man? How are we today? Let's go. Pick it up. Pick it up.
In the gym, working hard. Where are we?
30 more seconds. There we go. I'm hopping in rounds, training, teaching, grinding, loving life. Loving life. Loving life. That's right. We're just getting after it, man. Sorry, I just can't stop, won't stop. That's just my life. My life.
We got Emmanuel Sanchez joining us, APFC 22. It's March 22nd, Isleta. This is the fight that almost got away from us. Are you able to talk about the medical emergency and what delayed this fight from happening the first time?
Yeah, I shared it on all my socials. I mean, it's very unfortunate. What do fighters want to do? Real fighters want to do is fight. And sadly, I tried to stay on top of something that looked really nasty, some mat funk, I guess, or whatever. I don't know. I'm just very prone to getting infections. And I tell all my teammates, any little scrape, scratch, ingrown hair can turn into something nasty and disgusting. And that's exactly what happened all up until fight week. I was, I want to say maybe only a week before the fight, it was manageable. That all right, wasn't a problem. My problem is that I never want to take time off of training, and then it blew up like that. Got a nasty staph infection. So thankfully, I didn't need surgery. I didn't need anything serious. Just antibiotics and get all that nasty infection out of me. And then yeah, now postpone the fight, but here we are now, ready to rock and roll for this next one.
How long did the hospital stay? Did the infection, how long did that knock you down for and out of the gym?
I'd say a week, week and a half. Because I mean, I still had to have it bandaged and covered, but thankfully it was one of those ones where it didn't need to bleed out or pus out or anything like that. It just died on its own. I didn't need any special cream at all either. Just all the IV antibiotics and actual pill antibiotics that they gave me, and yeah, it died on its own. And then until I was ready to start training again, or got the clearance to start training again, I was able to hop back in. And I got a nice scar on my arm because of it. So it's all right. I've now had an infection on every limb on my body. So, but except my left arm. So my left arm just felt left out.
Had to join the rest of the body parts. It felt lonely.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like, hey man, what about me? And so it's like, oh yeah, here we go, my turn. So sadly, it had to happen, of course, before a fight. So that sucked. I believe it's something that could have been prevented. Where I made the mistake is thinking that probably and not staying on top of it immediately, going to the urgent care because I just saw it as something very small. And until it became something uncontrollable and unmanageable, then yes, that's what obviously pulled me from the fight. So that's where I made the mistake. The next time I ever see anything that looks funky, gotta go and get that checked out right away and get the proper medicine to kill it and make sure you don't get nothing. And also, if that means taking time off of training, take time off of training. It's not worth it.
We were days away from the fight. How did you feel even with the infection? How was training going? How did you feel? Were you expecting to be able to fight as you wanted to?
Surprisingly, I just couldn't get sweaty, but I still like once it died down more, and I made sure like, oh, okay, yeah, I won't be in any gym and around people. Grappling is obviously where you get that funky stuff the most. So being able to hit pads, hit the heavy bag, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like, I'm okay. It didn't affect my endurance. I didn't need to stay at the hospital. Thankfully, they let me go. And like I said, I still would have fought, but any doctor during the pre-fight medicals look at that and they would not let me fight with that. So they're doing what they got to do. All of that was out of my control, and I was hoping, yeah, it could have been anything even sooner to remake the fight. But all right, it's all right. No better time than now. Not a big deal. We just taught me patience. That's most definitely it. And also, outside of patience and perseverance, I mean, sometimes things happen in training, and just the older you get, and also the harder things get, it happens as part of training. Take a night off, take a day off. You have to let yourself heal and recover. Otherwise, your body is not going to respond the way it should and heal the way it should, the way you want it to. And you'll be out of training even longer. So that's my advice to all my younger teammates right now and all younger fighters out there right now, too, is that yes, you want to grind, but you also need to listen to your body because otherwise you'll be forced to be not able to go to the gym. And that sucks because, having the urge and the desire to want to train and get all the rounds in that you want to and be in the gym. Well, if you're always pushing it and you don't let yourself heal and recover, well, then eventually, like I said, something's going to take you out of it. Well, now you can't. I can't train. I can't go to the gym. I really am too beat up. I'm too messed up. And this has rendered my ability to be able to train.
It's a harsh setback. What happens? Are you able to watch the fight after that? Do you watch James versus Jess, or did you just separate yourself from the event?
No, I actually tuned in right away. I, of course, wanted to see all the fights. His, of course, but when I turned it on, actually, I think it was right around the time with like Wing to See. So I'm watching Wing to See, and then I'm like, oh crap! And then the rest of the card as well too. My teammate, and also, I mean, he's taking the role of like a coach now, but he's still a fighter my age. Who's cornered me has been in New Mexico before, so he missed out on this opportunity. But seeing the whole everything, it's Anthony's show. APFC is, I believe, top of the line, man. I've been to all of them, cornering teammates and watching fights of friends on CFFC, on Fury, on LFA. And yeah, no, I believe Anthony's is the best. So I don't like missing out on any show that's on Fight Pass. So I would have tuned in either way. So yeah, like I said, it was difficult, but as a fight fan, watching fights on a Sunday, right? I was like, all right, man, that was it. It was all good. Got to see Gabe Stevenson do his thing and all the other fighters as well too. So yeah, all in all, a great card.
You brought him up, Gable. Man, that's a freak athlete. I don't know the last time we've been wowed by a prospect like what he's doing.
It's impressive. I mean, who knows if they'll do karate combat next or something because he's done dirty boxing, obviously still killing it in wrestling, being in that world, right? Training with John Jones and a lot of other MMA greats right now. And now shining on APFC, it's like, all right, man. I mean, because he's a heavyweight and his name, he easily could get into the UFC right now. But smart though, with what Cormier and a lot of other people that are in his corner and around and helping him are saying, giving him the advice to make the most amount of money and take the best route to get himself there. And I mean, ultimately, we know he's gonna get there. So whether he goes and does bare knuckle or, like I said, karate combat or another dirty boxing fight or another fight on Anthony's show, man, everybody's gonna be tuning in to watch, or back to wrestling, or pro wrestling. Man, it's Gabe Stevenson, right? So I mean, we'll all tune in and we'll all be entertained, right?
Okay, the better question: what were your impressions of watching James Pleasant? I'm pretty sure that was the first time you got to see him fight live.
Live, yeah. Of course, as fighters, you look up all your opponents and stuff like that, and I'm always thinking that way though. When I look at any card right now, even in UFC or PFL, anything, anywhere, anybody, anywhere, I'm always like, what if they match me up with this guy? You never know. You never know. Uh, from somebody who's a welterweight going down or someone who's a featherweight going up, there's, I mean, can never say never. So even though, of course, I was matched up with him, I see him fight, obviously live. I think he had to make the right adjustments to fighting someone completely different on just a few days' notice. Uh, I think his opponent pulled out a good fight for someone I was reading or hearing, right, on the broadcast. He hadn't fought in like 5 years. He's a little up there in age. He was originally getting ready to fight at 45, but then moves up. Either way, they both put on a great fight. So I'm glad a fight was still be able to be made for all of them. And I mean, yeah, I take it away. He did what he needed to do to win, and he won. Man, great. And the same, him, just like any other fighter, I'm sure, calling out the shots UFC. And the same, respectfully, he was like, oh, yeah, if we can remake this fight, let's do it. And he did it. So awesome. Here we are. I'm glad they made this happen. So let's go. About to be APFC's first double champ.
Was there anything that you saw in his game that was unexpected or kind of had you recalibrating your game plan?
Not really. I just a lot of things I won't tell you on here at least. Yeah, you'll
Right.
see it. You'll see it when we fight. But no, nothing really. Like, man, I look at everybody at the same. You're a fighter. All right, you have good striking. You have good grappling. You have this experience, that experience, etc. Whatever. Right. I don't care. We're gonna fight, and I'm going to prove I'm the better fighter. I mean, over all the years and all the battles that I've had, and being a fan as well too. So watching other fighters, females, or like we were just talking about heavyweights, the heavier weight classes. You can look at someone and on paper this, on paper that. The on paper stuff and the statistics don't matter. All that matters is those two guys when they enter the ring. So that's what I look to do each and every single time I fight because I have fought better wrestlers. I have fought better strikers. I have fought guys that were black belts at the time when I wasn't a black belt. And that didn't faze me. That didn't mean anything to me. I knew I needed to go out there and just do my thing. Who cares if he's got this, got that, whatever? That doesn't mean anything. All that matters is when that cage door closes, and in that moment, at that time, what you got for me right there. So, yeah, I love it. It's just part of the fight game, you know.
Had you already told Anthony when it was kind of finalized that you weren't going to be able to fight, that you wanted the winner? Were you on with the phone with him right after the event? Like, when did you know that you wanted to rebook this matchup?
Well, immediately, actually, I was like, well, I'm glad he won. That was the guy I was scheduled to fight, so I'm glad he won. And what the same route that they were going, what they were thinking, I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever opportunities still to remake the fight before the end of the year or starting this year off right away, let's do it. But okay, had to wait till March. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all, man. It just gave me even more time to prepare for him because I've already been prepared, like, from last year. So to me, whether I had a fight coming up or not, I'm always in the gym looking to better my game. I want to punch harder. I want to be faster. I want to be stronger. I want to be more explosive. I want to better my cardio. I want better grappling, better striking, etc., etc. Right? So, this is my passion. This is my craft. This is my livelihood, and it doesn't matter who it is. If they said him, if they said a welterweight, if they said Gable Stevenson, oh damn. All right, man. I'm not a heavyweight, but they want to make me versus Gable Stevenson, dude, or whatever. Let's do it. All right.
We know that you spent much of time in Milwaukee, Rufus Sport. We had a cold front recently hit like no other through the Southwest. Did that seem like a big deal to you? You've been up in the Wisconsin, Chicago area. You've seen some winters. What did you think of this cold front?
Well, I'm in Houston, Texas now, man, so I don't have to deal with those problems. I tell my family that all the time. I'm like, you guys all right? Because damn, stay warm. I'll send them my snaps or sharing stories of how nice the weather is for me. It's cold for Texas down here. When it gets below 70 and windy, so it's 60 degrees and 70 and windy, but it was still a high of 80. So I'm like, and the sun is shining, so I'm just enjoying myself. If anything, I put on a hoodie, and then it gets too warm out, I take the hoodie off. So I'm just like, this weather is beautiful down here. So that's why I love being down south, and I had to be down south because I've seen too many winters, and that's exactly why I left the Midwest. It was just too cold, couldn't do it no more.
Emmanuel Sanchez has literally been there, done that, and seen everything. I look up his record and I'm thinking to myself, has he ever been in this situation where he was supposed to fight somebody and the fight gets canceled and immediately rebooked? I think in 2020 you had that with Daniel Weichel. So you really have, it seems like, been there, done that, and been through almost every situation possible in the MMA game.
Yeah, I mean, it's really unfortunate. As I was saying, I was just like, damn, this, man, I have a fight coming up, it falls through, and damn, like, hopefully, whenever we can, as soon as we can, let's remake it. So that happened with Daniel. Crazy during COVID times, right? But now here we are with this time, and we don't need to worry about those COVID restrictions. So I mean, it it's all good. I mean, what makes it even more heartbreaking is, for one, pulling out. No one ever wants to pull out of a fight. I don't believe any fighter would ever want to pull out of a fight, want to get injured, or have something happen like that, right? I mean, that sucks. That's devastating. And for me, that was only the second time in my career that that's happened. Where, as bad as I want to fight, I can't fight physically. It's like you're not going to fight at your best, and also a doctor would not let you fight. So, just completely out of my control.
Out of your control. Now the control is back in your hands. One thing that it always amazes me about fighters is you guys are used to dealing with adversity and able to find a silver lining. Did you see a silver lining in now having the fight move back to us getting it in March?
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, man, finally, that let's get this ball rolling. I've been waiting for too long. I've been just hungry to fight. So, man, you just at a loss for words. Just like, let's just do it. Let's get it. Let's get after it. I'm too hungry for this. So.
And last thing before we let you go, two division APFC champion, make history in the promotion. What would that mean to you?
History, man, history. It's the same thing that me and any other promoter or to talk about and fighter. It's like, yeah, we just keep knocking on Dana's door and just letting him know. And now this is proof. And I mean, if I have to go to middleweight to heavyweight, like what we were just saying, whatever I got to do, uh, I just want to prove that I'm one of the best, not signed right now, and got to fight whoever I got to do it, right? To prove it. And he's one of them right now. So this is awesome. I love this fight. Let's go and just let's fight, man. I'm just too hungry to fight right now. That's all I can say is I just want to go on, take this guy out, and get to where we know we belong.
It's hungry versus hungry. We have the battle-tested veteran from Bellator, APFC welterweight title already on the mantle, looking to add a second one. Well, we have a hungry young lion, has the APFC lightweight title, and you're both looking to take that next step. I'm super excited for this one. Can't wait for March 22nd.
Awesome, man. Let's go, me either. Let's go. Tune in March 22nd, UFC Fight Pass, APFC. And if you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, got to pull up to the Isleta Resort and Casino. Let's go.
Manuel, thank you for the time tonight.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Emmanuel Sanchez, the Matador, APFC lightweight title, James Pleasant. The fight gets rebooked. Super psyched to see this one happen. You guys, as you heard, come watch on UFC Fight Pass if you're not here locally to get on over to the Isleta Resort and Casino. Of course, you know who else is going to be on the card, and we are going to have him on the show eventually. Yeah, Barber Gabe. You get on over to get the look tight and right to Barber Gabe's fades. It's 100 Coors Boulevard, Northwest, Lobo Plaza, Suite 107. The shop with the fundamentals on lock. Book online. It's the same place where you can get your Barbers R Us beard balm, the cherry scented. You can book your appointments. Walk-ins are welcome, but first come, first serve. Your look will be a knockout after visiting Barber Gabe's fades. Robbie Ray Images, let him share his superpower with you. He can freeze time and make that magic moment last a lifetime. Easily capture the next image to promote your brand. Robbie Ray Media is where you go to take the business to the next level. We can create the commercials that we can display right here for you on My Fight Show. The show is expanding, heading towards Comcast. Thank you to Talk ABQ for helping out with that. Yes, expanding to 80,000 more viewers able to watch the show. You heard it from Emmanuel Sanchez, one of the eye-grabbing moments from APFC 21 was seeing the main event. Gable Steveson, the heavyweight who we all expect to steal the nickname from Brock Lesnar, the next big thing. I've went on and on about him before, and we talk about him again because the John Jones protege, I think Emmanuel got that a little confused when he said Daniel Cormier, the John Jones protege ran the record to 3-0 in Mexico. The fight is available to watch back on YouTube, and it was another first round destruction, this time of his most credentialed opponent. It is getting, I don't want to say ridiculous because it almost makes it sound outlandish, but from a hype perspective, just when you're like, could we get the hype blowing any more? Hugo Lamaza, a legitimate 11-3 professional MMA fighter. Hugo with 5 wins by knockout, 4 wins by submission, a Budo Cento heavyweight champion, a legit feeder promotion. Yeah, he did have a loss to Emiliano Sorde, UFC vet, PFL tournament winner. That happened in FFC. You can see them on UFC Fight Pass. This was a credentialed, real guy who had been in some big-time fights. 11-3 record. 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Was trying to shoot takedowns because he didn't want any of the hands. It feels like a foregone conclusion. Will he have to have another fight? Maybe he has to have one more fight. Maybe he won't have to have another fight. Maybe it just happens. The White House, the June 14th card, we could see the debut of Gable Steveson. It looks like a foregone conclusion that he will be fighting at the top of the food chain in the heavyweight division before we know it. The balance, the poise, the dynamics, the athleticism, the fight IQ looks to be way advanced. The heavyweight division is not in a point of depth at its greatest. The shallowness compounded with the once in a generational athleticism that this Olympian possesses. In awe of what he accomplished this past week in Mexico. 3-0 in MMA, 1-0 in the custom rules of dirty boxing, 4-0 in combat sports in a very short amount of time. The next great heavyweight, continuing to put together that resume, bringing the fire, bringing the heat, and going to be bringing the destruction before we know it in the UFC. Interestingly enough, the UFC announcing that at UFC 327, Curtis Blades will be taking on Josh Hokett. Josh Hokett from the Jackson Wink Academy. We've had the opportunity to talk to Josh once before. That one opens up eyes because Hokett's 2-0. And Curtis Blades, not the most active heavyweight sits at number 4 in the rankings. We need fresh contenders in the heavyweight division. And while Dana White said he wasn't impressed by Josh and Jared's interview, I still think one of the greatest interviews and press conferences we've seen in modern UFC. Entertaining as all get out. This is the fast track. This is the precedent of big fights. This is fighting for world titles before we know it. Beat Curtis Blades and you're one fight away. Interim title fights come up often, it seems like, in this division. We really don't know the status of a Tom Aspinall, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing Alex Fajeda versus Surreal Gone for an interim or vacant title in the near future. Josh Hokett is right there. He's grabbing headlines. He's trending. You can like the shtick or not, but it's garnering the eyeballs, and eyeballs, that's the currency that we're dealing with. Subscriptions, viewership. Hokett brings the eyeballs, and he has a massive, absolutely massive opportunity in front of himself. You might not like the talk, but it's getting him a number 4 ranked fighter in Curtis Blades. And we look at Martin Bundai, 6-1 in the UFC. The promotion didn't re-sign him. I question the move immensely. He returns to Octagon. Will Furry flatlines him. The UFC looks like they're right. Jailton Almeida is now the newest addition to the ACA heavyweight roster over in Russia. Had an opportunity to sign with the PFL. Had an opportunity to sign with KSW in Poland. Had an opportunity to go to Japan and fight for Ryzen. Had an offer reportedly to take on former UFC heavyweight champion, the game-bred bare knuckle heavyweight champion, 2-fight win streak, back on the right track, 42-year-old Junior Dos Santos. Gave a huge runway for that one. Dos Santos, Almeida was the offer to be on the Rousey Carano Netflix card. Would have been the biggest fight of Almeida's career. I gotta say that discretion is probably the smarter move here. I don't know if the ACA offer is more money, but it's probably a better opportunity in the long term. Multiple fights versus one fight that may make you look like a damaged good. I don't like the matchup of a Dos Santos Almeida. His takedowns have become less effective. Dos Santos, traditionally one of the harder heavyweights in MMA history to take down. Going to Russia, though, over Japan, over Poland, over the PFL, especially at a time where the PFL is reorganizing their roster and trying to restore faith, regarner the fan base that they lost with fumbling Bellator. To see someone in the industry again turn to another option that I don't know many would take, it speaks volumes about where the PFL is. It also makes you wonder, what names could we see on the Rousey Carano undercard? We now know Junior Dos Santos is in the mix, and they could be working on getting him a fight. I don't know if that all of a sudden brings up names like a Roy Nelson, a Frank Mir, Rampage Jackson. There's a lot of other former MMA stars that like to keep their names relevant. I'm just wondering, does this open up the thought process to other guys that could possibly be involved in the card? Nate Diaz feels like possibly a stretch, but the UFC doesn't seem to be wanting to get back into the Nate Diaz business or all that excited about it. Dylan Dennis has been banned from the UFC, but his name kind of pops up in a lot of weird conversations. Would he be able to make the date? I don't know. Jorge Masvidal, we know that game-bred bare knuckles coming back. I think that Jorge was also trying to angle to get a fight. Not sure if the UFC has been receptive in the manner that he was hoping for. Benson Henderson and Anthony Pettis are always down to punch each other on some platform, and both are not fully committed to not competing. They're both fielding offers. Jeremy Stevens, whether it's jumping to the UFC, doing bare knuckle, boxing Jose Aldo, he's always up for a financial opportunity. If Ronda's on the card as she is, could you see some of her former friends? Shayna Baszler, not that active in the pro wrestling world since leaving the UFC. If Ronda's back in training, could Shayna end up UFC vet, Strikeforce vet, also on an undercard? And heck, I was there. Rashad Evans and Rampage Jackson were talking about doing a boxing match against each other, and we're willing to field offers for a big opportunity. Just saying, just throwing it out there. With Netflix in the game, when you're putting together Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather 2 at the Spear, when you're bringing back Ronda Rousey, matching her with Gina Carano, I think we can be a little playful. I think we can let our imaginations run wild and see what comes of it. Who could be a part of this card? It'll be a lot of fun to see where they go. We do have some news that we can talk about. Also interesting, possibly, with that card, Chris Cyborg. Yeah, in the future, maybe Carano rematch. Maybe that elusive Ronda Rousey fight that we never got. Reportedly, one fight left with the PFL, and the PFL, a lot of speculation is that they are angling towards a catchweight fight, super fight for Dakota Ditcheva. Makes a lot of sense from the perspective of Ditcheva is the person, the female fighter that the PFL most wants to get behind. Beautiful Muay Thai striking. We see her in the Dubai commercials all the time. Guest commentary. Number one priority in the female division for the PFL is promoting Dakota. They're angling towards a Dakota Cyborg super fight. Could we see that happen? March 28th. Busy day in combat sports. Cyborg boxing for a WIBA 154-pound title in Brazil. That one will be available on YouTube for free. One more fight with the PFL, and then you can start wondering, Carano rematch, maybe a fight with Holly, maybe Ronda. Does Ronda fight Holly? Netflix has some opportunities in the MMA realm to make a couple of these nostalgic, desired rivalry fights in women's MMA. It'll be interesting to see how they go about navigating the trajectory of getting these fights to happen. Who knows how long the fighters will still be interested in what's coming up. BKFC. A lot of big stuff is happening in the world of bare knuckle. We had a massive event. I think we have our second guest ready. So without further ado, coming off of a win at Knucklemania and making sure he is fully ready to join us and jump in on the conversation. Gonna get to it right now. Our second guest is giving me the thumbs. Knuckle Mania was an absolutely epic card. And right now, my fight show is lucky enough to welcome in the guy that set the pace for the card, set the tone for the event. First win on the night in his debut in BKFC. Let's welcome in right now, multi-sport, combat sport veteran, Josh Oxendine. Welcome to my fight show. How you doing?
I'm good.
We had him, and of course, the moment I introduce him, it drops off. Let's see if we can get him back here.
I'm back. I'm sorry, man.
It's okay. It's just it works out sometimes. How you doing?
Nah, yeah, you good, man. You good. Nah, we back. Nah, but everything's good, man. It's good to be here, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Would we say 30 fights, 35 fights? How many do you think you have under your belt all in total?
Well, if we include amateurs, way more than that. But yeah, professional about 30, 35. Yeah, something up there, man. We have a lot for sure.
A lot of fights. Did anything though compare to the crowd, the atmosphere, what it was like for your BKFC debut in Philly?
Oh nah, man, that crowd was electric. Never fought in front of that many people in my life. I remember fighting in front of 100 people. You know what I'm saying? So to fight in front of 18,000 was ridiculous, but it was amazing, man. It was cool, great experience. But the more people, the more calm I am.
Was it a familiar experience? Were there any nerves walking out and there's that many people?
There's always nerves, man. If you're not nervous, then you don't love the sport for sure. So it was just nerves of being able to compete at the highest level of what you can do, right? Not really nerves of the crowd, but nerves on what you really can do and showcasing your skills. So that was the nerves I was having at the beginning. But as soon as I walked out and seen the people and heard the cheers, all the nerves went away. It was time to have fun.
You fought in a lot of different organizations, a lot of different competitions. We know that you have the bare knuckle experience. How big of a decision was it, career trajectory wise, leaving BYB, now BKB, and coming over to BKFC?
It was tough to be honest because BKB has been my home from the beginning. They gave me the start and in bare knuckles, so it was really tough. But I was just trying to stay active. My goal was to stay active and fight, and I wasn't. So I needed a change. So that's what happened. And BKFC opened me with welcome arms, and they gave me a fight right away. So it was pretty cool.
What has it been about the bare knuckle genre that's connected with you? We know there's MMA in your past. You still keep busy, it looks like, with a little bit of boxing, but
Yep.
it seems like primarily bare knuckle is your focus.
Yeah, man. I've loved the gladiator of the sport. I grew up fighting a lot, so being able to use my skills, my boxing skills, and still be able to hit somebody with bare knuckles is fun. It's a good time. I really don't get hit too much, so I haven't been in some crazy wars. It's been fun for me, but it's good, man. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. The fans enjoy it, and there's nothing like the fans of bare knuckle compared to boxing or MMA. The fans of bare knuckle is different for sure.
Well, you bring up an interesting point right there with just that last statement. There were three other things in that answer that I want to get to, but can you feel that energy, that kind of the appreciation? Can you feel the difference in the crowd from the different sports? You can feel that while it's going on.
Oh yeah, the fans of bare knuckle as well. If they showing up for bare knuckle, they showing up to go crazy. So yeah, I just love it. I love it. In MMA and boxing, you have people who come just to watch a certain person, but when people come to watch bare knuckle, they come in to watch everybody. They come in to watch knockouts, blood. So it's a good time, man. The fans in Philly was crazy. They're a different type of fan base over there for sure. I enjoyed it. They booed me like crazy at first, but when I got done fighting, it was like we booed you, but we're fans now. So it was pretty cool, man. It was a great experience.
One of those, so it almost feels like there's a greater opportunity for yourself to be able to steal the show. You feel like there's not really just the that anticipation for the main event when you go to bare knuckle.
Yeah, exactly. Every fight is a main event. Every fight in bare knuckle is a main event. Doesn't matter if you're the first on the card or the last on the card. People are showing up to come watch it. They come in to watch blood, come in to watch people get hit in the mouth, the hurt of the crack between the bones of the hands to the bones of the face. So they love it, man. They love it. I love it. I love putting on a show. I love entertaining, and I'm an entertainer, so it was good to do that.
Philadelphia, your debut, it's Knucklemania, and you get a veteran of the company, a guy that's hounding the bare knuckle show all the time. So he gets a lot of publicity. He was a known entity, was fighting Travis Thompson with his persona as a wild man, as wild as it kind of the buildup was.
I asked, I told them at the beginning I didn't want nobody easy. I wanted the best they got. Thomas just fought Ryan for basically like a number one contender to go fight, for the belt. So, when they offered me Travis, I just said yeah right away. Just send the contract. I didn't want nobody easy. I wanted somebody really tough. I wanted to showcase my skills, and that's what I did. he's tough, man. He comes forward. He puts a beating on people. Last Nickel Manny, he knocked the guy out unconscious in the second round. He has power. He's tough. He can take a lick. He comes forward. He don't go back. So I knew it was going to be a battle, but I wanted to show people that there's levels in this game, and I'm up there at the top for sure.
What was it like having so much space to fight in? You came out of the Trigon, and I've been in there before. It's an absolute phone booth, and then you get so much space in the squared circle.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing to be able to move. In the Trigon, you can't go nowhere. It's a brawl. And, I'm not a brawler. I'm a technician. And, I got caught in sometimes in BKB because of that, because of the brawl. But in BKFC, with the ring so big, I'm able to really use my footwork and use my boxing. And as we've seen, um, in February in Philly, that it doesn't matter if you come forward, you like the hard charge and brawl. I'm able to use my footwork and make it beautiful. So that's what I did. I painted a picture and it came out gorgeous.
How did you develop the open stance and style that you have? Is that just kind of natural to you, or was that how you were trained?
No, I was definitely not trained like that. My coach, my coach is pissed off every time I box. He gets so mad at me because my open style like that, but it's just something that feels confident and I feel confident in and I feel comfortable, and the more comfortable in there, the more I can be free and let loose and do what I do. So yeah, we usually high guard, hands super tight to the face, trying to leave no space for a punch. But as soon as I get in there, all that goes out the window and I go straight back to that little open guard I have. But it works. It works well, especially in that ring. It worked really good. I bait a lot of people to come in, and then when they come in, they make a mistake and they get hit.
Back 3, 4 answers ago, when we had the long answer, you brought up fighting all your life. Why? Where did it start? Like, what got you into fighting even at a young age?
Yeah, I grew up in Pembroke, North Carolina, Robson County. I'm Native American, and where I come from, it was rough neck of woods. The crime rate's high, and if you wanted something, you had to go get it. And obviously, we fought a lot because there was nothing else to do. There was like 2, 3 stoplights there. Everybody knew everybody. So yeah, grew up fighting. But I was always the smallest, so I always got picked on, and yeah, just had to be tough, man. Had to be tough where I came from, and now I said, you know what? When I got older and the skills started developing really well, I was like, if I can get paid to do what I did for free, might as well. And now I'm getting paid pretty good money to be able to punch people bare knuckle like I did back in the day. So it worked out pretty well.
What was the crossroad of where it went from fighting out there with everyone else because you're bored to stepping in a gym and really trying to hone skills in
Uh,
combat
when I
sports?
when I got out of the military, and I realized like, dang, I can really do this. I went into a gym and I seen that even with no training at all for a little while, that I got what it takes. I can do something with it, and I just stuck with it. And I'm very disciplined when I put my mind to something, and I just stayed the course. And it took some time. It doesn't happen overnight. It took a couple years, but we just stayed the course, and we realized that we have something special, and let's just build on it. We could continue to build on it, and here we are.
Oh, thank you for your service, sir.
Oh yes, sir.
What led to deciding to that go that path in your life to go into the armed services for a while?
It's just my family. It was just a family thing. Everybody went into the military. It's something we just did. I just followed the family route, kind of. But it's everything basically started when I got out. I served in the military. I learned a lot. I grew up, and when I got out, I just took that same discipline that I learned in there, and I put it towards combat sports, and same with my kids. All three of my kids box as well, and we just use that to stay disciplined and work on a craft, and it just taught me a lot, and now I use it towards life in general.
Well, guys, we're getting a lot in this interview. Served in the military, 3 kids, got them all in boxing
Yep.
with a 30 fight career. Lot going on, it sounds like, for Joshua Oxendine.
I'm a preacher as well, man. So yeah, we have a busy life for sure. Life is busy at the Oxnard household, but it's great, man. I wouldn't want it any other way. Life is busy, but that means you're doing something right. When you're bored and you're doing a lot of nothing, that means you need to get something under control. So life is busy, but life is good.
How did you become a preacher? Was this pre-fighting, post-fighting? How
Oh no,
did the thought come up?
I grew up in the church all my life. That's why my nickname's the Preacher Man. Because I'm a real preacher. I love God. My faith is something that is always in my life. Is something that my mom instilled in me at a very early age, and something that I stay with all my life. God is number one in my life, my family's life, my kids' life, my wife's, and it's just something that we put our trust in is God. So yeah, man, God is always number one. Faith is always second. So it's always faith, family, fighting. That's our little motto at our house. And if you keep them in that perfect order, everything will work out well.
And everything worked out more than well in the debut. Were you blown away by the moment, or did it come off just as expected?
We had a game plan. We don't go in there empty-handed. We go in there with the game plan. We knew what Travis wanted to do, what he liked to do, what he was good at, what he wasn't good at, and we stuck to our game plan. And that's why I have coaches for, man. That's why I have a team, and I feel like my team is one of the best in the world. And I'm gonna showcase that at 135. I went in there. I did exactly what my coach said do. I did it to the best of my ability. I didn't. I walked out there with no scratches, just some sore hands, and I'd rather leave with sore hands than a sore face. So.
I'd have to define your style. At least how Travis felt about it had to be absolutely frustrating.
Oh yeah, he was frustrated the whole time. If you look at the video, if you looked at the fight, you can see he was very frustrated. At the end of the second round, 10 seconds left, he just walked to his corner. He didn't even try to engage with me. He just couldn't hit me. He was just frustrated. When you take away brawling from a brawler, there's nothing else they can do, and that's what I did. I kept him at range. I touched him with my jab, and I just made it frustrating. It was a long night for him, and if he would have went any more, I would have finished him. But it was good. It was fun for me. I can't complain. I had a blast. For him, it wasn't. So, prayer for him. Hopefully that, his next fight he come out victorious. But, when people step in there with me at BKFC, it's not going to get their hands raised for sure.
Two-part question. What's next for you? And what do you think the path looks like to the title for you at 135?
April 24th, contract's already signed. 2 fights, 3 months. We ain't playing no games. I'm here for a good time, not a long time at BKFC. The belt's going to come this year. I'm going to take this clown out real quick, and then after I knock him out, I'm going for my belt. So Justin's just holding it. He's just, keeping it warm for me, and soon it'll be right around my waist.
April 24th, Clearwater, Florida.
I'm not here to fight bums. I'm here to fight the best of the best that BKFC has, to show them that I'm the best, and this guy is at the top. So he's one of the guys at the top. I'm gonna take him out real quick and go get my belt.
Looking to make an impact in a short time. I appreciate you, Josh Oxendine, jumping on, doing an interview. It was a pleasure, everybody. More My Fight Show just to come in a moment. Thanks, Josh, for joining us today.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Have a blessed one, bro.
I got small there. Now I'm big again. Welcome back, Josh Oxendine. He didn't want to say it. He didn't want to bring up the name, but by now, and it is official. An opportunity right at the top of the division from opening fight at Knucklemania 6 to the co-main event in Clearwater, Florida, April 26th. The co-main event gets Royal Ryan Reber. I was trying to join those two names for some reason. He gets a former title challenger, a top 5 rank foe immediately. The main event that night, former light heavyweight champion of the world, Jared Warren, is going to be taking on the UK light heavyweight champion, current belt holder on a 4-fight win streak, his American debut for bare knuckle, Connor Cook. Jared Warren, your main event. Ryan Reber, Joshua Oxendine, your co-main event, Clearwater, Florida. It's going to be a banger. The BKFC calendar overall filling up. and a lot of familiar names to us here in New Mexico. We know that the next BKFC event is March 14th. That one is a heavyweight title fight for the UK, where Mick Terrell takes on McFarlane. Kai Stewart, excuse me, everybody. Pardon me on that one. Kai Stewart, King Kai, BKFC featherweight world champion, March 20th. He defends his belt against Nico Gaffey, Hollywood, Florida. Same card. Very own former middleweight, or was middleweight title challenger, moving up to light heavyweight, back up to light heavyweight for a rematch. Donald Sanchez is going to be taking on Jeremy Smith, the South African. Welcome, Sanchez, to BKFC at BKFC 28 in Rio Rancho with a victory. Sanchez then went down to 75. He's now a much different athlete, more muscular, much more in shape. And I think that the trajectories have went in a different direction for both men. Sanchez now more adapted to the sport, has a much better understanding, where Smith, his results have kind of plateaued off. An interesting opportunity for Sanchez to get revenge. And I think he's going to be the faster fighter, and he's not going to get out physicaled the way he did last time. We've done numerous interviews talking about hopping off the couch, taking that first fight. It was a more flabby, a fatter Donald Sanchez. Huge opportunity as he'll be back in shape and to exact some revenge. Guys, I'm going to need like 30 seconds here. We'll be right back. This is My Fight Show. Cool. We're back. I took a bunch of drinks of water. Hopefully I don't choke again so I can continue talking. That was embarrassing. BKFC 87. That's where we were. We're talking about Donald Sanchez. Going to be an opportunity to exact revenge on March 20th. The local favorites don't stop there. Derek Pettis given the biggest opportunity of his BKFC career also on this card, where he is going to be taking on the number 5 ranked featherweight Brian Duran, one of the hardest punchers in BKFC. This is going to be a fight where Pettis has to use his experience, his ability to create angles. He's got to use his movement. You can't just get trapped in a corner and exchange big punches with Duran. You're not going to come out on the positive in that situation with his just raw knockout power, his bone density. The guy is a hammer when he lands. It's a huge opportunity, though, for the fighting pride of Berlin. BKFC has a wild schedule laid out. So March 14th is going to be the Newcastle card. March 20th, so 6 days later, you get the Kai Stewart Gaffey card. That's BKFC 87. We got a fight night 8 days later, Mohegan Sun. Yes, Parker Porter making his ascent towards a title opportunity. He's going to be on that card. Luis Perdomo has been booked, taking on Rashad Coulter for BKFC 87. Literally just seeing that as breaking news. Perdomo still not getting the title shot, but it's kind of a race between him and Parker Porter at this point. BKFC Fight Club scheduled to debut April 7th, 2300 Arena. That is Dave Feldman's one night, 8-man tournaments. Similar experience. Obviously, they'll all be in the same weight class, and no one knows who they're fighting each other until the moment they're fighting each other. That extravaganza kicks off on April 7th. April 11th, there is Hawaii April 17th, BKFC 88 Denver, looking for fights to be announced for there. Australia, you get the BKFC for the first time April 18th. You can expect Beck Rollins to be on that card. And as we said, all the way out to April 24th, that card, hot and spicy, just announced with the main event and co-main event of Cook versus Warren. That one, huge implications for what's happening in the light heavyweight division. Connor Cook gets an opportunity to establish himself here stateside and demand a world title shot. Well, Warren gets the opportunity to reestablish himself in the division and still stake his claim to being one of the top contenders. He can be in that Max Holloway position that we recognize with the UFC and keep himself right in top contender position. You're watching My Fight Show. We appreciate everybody doing so. Like, share, subscribe. It does immense amounts of good for us expanding our reach. It's truly appreciated. Every view goes a long way. A little bit more effort just goes that much further. Barber, Gabe's Fades. If you need a haircut, it's Barber, Gabe's Fades.net to book. It's also where you find the Barber R Us Beard Balm, cherry scented, cementing the beard, keeping those wild hairs on lock. And yeah, be back tomorrow with a new haircut. I really should get those scheduled the day before the live stream, not the day after. That's just a scheduling thing. But we are crazy here as we are going live, and we will still be joined tonight. APFC 22s, Mark the Hoss Hussey, representing Nobody's Villains, and Ozzy Beast Boy Chavez from Fit NHB in action. Fight World 43, March 21st. We still got two great guests coming up. We're a couple minutes away from Ozzy Chavez. We're going to close out the show with Mark Hussey. We got everybody scheduled now. It took a while. This is My Fight Show. Huge shout out to Robbie Ray Images. Dude's got a superpower. He can freeze time. Contact him on Facebook so that he can capture your moment and help it last forever. We talked about speculations, rumors. We're talking about the BKFC schedule. Last weekend, there was BKB. We had some UFC. We had news from the BKB, and we definitely got to get to that. You guys could see the article over at cageminds.com. BKB 54 will be the promotion's debut in Niagara Falls. It's Niagara Fight Night. It's Smash LT Nelson, the two division pound for pound number one ranked fighter in BKB, defending his title against aggressive British contender Mark Tiffin. You also get to see a lightweight title rematch in the co-main event as Jared Grant, former BKFC champion, is defending against John Bernard. Their November bout ended in a no contest. This must be decisive. We must have a winner this time. Who leaves Niagara Falls April 17th with the title? Be sure, we will have Smash LT Nelson on this show before long, talking about the upcoming title defense. Big news from BKB, who also announced this week a new streaming partner for their prelims. We had already in the recent weeks went over a number of the additions who have been added to the roster. Bare knuckle, man. Big year for them between what BKFC, BKB is doing. Don't forget Yoel Romero returning to bare knuckle in Russia, March 28th. Again, March 28th, a data circle on the calendar, whether it's nationally, globally, locally, combat sports, pro wrestling, a whole lot of stuff going down on the evening. This week, This week we got some combat sports coming up. Hey, look, looks like we got a guest waving at us now. So we'll get to the preview for this week's action in just a moment. But I see him getting ready. The Beast Boy getting in place. Ozzy Chavez, Fight World 43. We're going to welcome him in right now to my fight show. Ozzy Chavez, Fight World, fighting back home in Albuquerque. How you doing, my man?
Good, good. Just getting ready, prepared, living the dad life and, training, working hard and getting ready to put on a show.
Big weekend of fights. March 21st. You go back to doing what you love to do. You get in that cage. How does dad life, work life, how does all that transform when there's a date on the calendar and the Beast Boy needs to come out?
It's a beautiful thing that my little ones support and get excited for when my fights come up. So it makes the process a lot easier. They're willing to be there and be ready for me to train and put in the work that needs to be done. And it's just that night comes and you just switch it on and you turn on that killer instincts and you go from being a dad to the fighter, and it's nice. It's then you get the rewards of being able to do something with them after and give them what their sacrifices were worth.
How much different is training, is life, is the fight game when you're also now a dad? This is a much different Ozzy, a much different life, much different focuses than when I first met you all the way back in Rio Rancho at Judgment.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful process. I thank the Lord every day for, giving me my two beautiful blessings and allowing me to experience the better parts of life. Fighting has always been my passion and my dream, but when you have kids, it just, you start realizing the priorities in life and how we got to set those examples of chasing our dreams and achieving our goals so that when they get that age, they know, hey, my dad put in the work and he did what he had to do to show us that they could do anything they want. And I constantly tell them, trust in the Lord's plans and just work hard and everything you want could happen.
Is it harder to be selfish now during camps? Because I know training these weeks and lead up, especially when you get down to the last couple weeks with weight cutting and calorie depletion, it's a really selfish time. So how much harder is that now as a father and with so much on your schedule?
Oh boy, that gets rough, especially when your little one's asking for pizza and cake and all the good stuff. But I try to be disciplined in my area and allow her to still enjoy her parts. And it makes it rough when you're driving with the pizza to the house and you know that you're not getting none. But she does her part and she sits there and allows me to train. So I do my part in making it as smooth for her also. And I'm thankful to have the gym I'm at and the people it's like a family there at Fit and everyone helps out and she loves being there. Everyone is just so awesome with her. And I'm thankful for that for sure.
I'm not going to name names, but I've went out with some fighters when they're cutting weight. And I'm like, are you sure you want to go eat? And they're like, yeah. And they will sniff my food. It's like the fantasy of almost eating. So you can't tell me you don't enjoy that drive home with
Oh
the
yeah.
pizza, that you're at least enjoying being that close to it.
Oh yeah, and then your social media knows when you're cutting, I swear, because everything pops up that's just delicious. I'm like, oh my goodness, save that for later.
In that thought, what is the best cheat meal that you get to have while in camp?
Uh I'm big on, staying disciplined throughout the whole camp and but if I am gonna have a cheat meal, I'm gonna, do some enchiladas or something crazy if I am gonna go out and do it. But other than that, I like to stay disciplined because I do cut a little bit more than usual, and get with the age and everything, it makes it a little harder to get down. But this fight's nice. It's at 35, so I'll be able to stay strong and keep that strength high.
Well, during camp, then, what is the favorite food? What is your go-to meal that you get to have during this process?
I'm big on turning some ground turkey into red chili and mixing it with quinoa and vegetables. But this week I've been doing salmon and it's been amazing. I love me some salmon also. So those two are my definitely go-tos, and then mixing in chicken every now and then for sure.
135. What would be the differences you feel like after having cut these last several fights down to 25, now competing back at 35?
I feel like it's gonna allow me to really keep my strength high and really have my output really high. I feel like the cut to 25 really doesn't do much. I feel like it's been kind of easier the last couple cuts, so I've been adding a lot of strength and conditioning and lifting a lot more to even make that cut down to 25 a little more harder, because I'm coming in at 23 or 24, a little under 25 already. So if I could put on 5 pounds of muscle and then make that cut a little rough, I mean, I feel like it'll be beneficial to stay strong. But I run a lot. Like I said, I stay disciplined with my eating, even a little 6 weeks, 8 weeks out. I try to stay really disciplined, and I think that's the big key to making the cut so easy.
How have the years in the game taught you that discipline?
Oh man, it shows, because when I was younger, man, I would eat McDonald's and Blake's Lotaburger the week before the fight and be cutting with the sauna suits and, really killing my body. And now that, you start seeing people like Tim Sosa and Sherwin and all these other guys, Timmy Means in the gym, and how they process the weight cut and how they do everything, I think it's been very beneficial to see those guys. And even asking Ty now with how he cuts his weight and what he does. And we're at our gym, we're filled with a bunch of people that are willing to spread knowledge and help one another, and it's a beautiful thing.
About 2/3 of your pro fights have not seen a second round. What has it been about your style that has created this chaos so quickly into fights?
I think I just really like coming out and putting on a pace and really being high energy right off the back. So I think that really sets the standard for finishing fights and getting people out quicker. And I pride myself on being a very high output fighter and trying to really put a lot out there. And this fight is one of those fights where I really want to go out there and flow the way I do in the gym and just really set a standard on the kind of fighter and kind of output I really do put out there.
How challenging has it been to find that connection of getting Ozzy that shows up in the gym to be the Ozzy that shows up in the cage under the bright lights?
I think sometimes it's just mental moments that, allow you to really be strong in there, or sometimes even get under your head. So I feel like this camp I've really been just focusing on my mental and just really trying to be strong and going to church a lot and focusing on the Lord and giving him, the path of my life and allowing him to, you know, guide me to wherever is best to glorifying him. And I feel like that has been a big change in my life and my training, is just, allowing him to guide me and knowing that win or loss, I'm glorifying him and I'm learning. So that's the best part now.
The last couple fights, you haven't had the performances that I'm sure that you've wanted to. What do you feel have been necessary, or have there been necessary adjustments you feel that will pay off upcoming? We see you on the 21st.
I think we're at fit, we're always constantly trying to evolve and, get better from our last performances. I feel like my last couple fights have been fights that I could have won, and I just, mental errors, little positional errors where I feel comfortable in spots in the gym, and you just can't get to those spots in a fight. And it's one of those moments where I feel like in my last three fights, I just made some mental errors where I feel like I could grow and show people that, even though I haven't had the results I've wanted, that I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm not going nowhere. I have a lot of fight left, and I still want to show my daughters that, dad's still here to be Beast Boy when he needs to be.
Getting comfortable in those positions. It almost sounds like, are you having too much fun or almost too much comfortability just in the process of fighting? Because you've been doing this a while.
Yeah, I mean, just getting comfortable isn't good. So, I try not to get comfortable and trying to stay, uncomfortable. But, there are moments where, you get in a position during the camp so long that in a fight you get in there and you're like, oh, I'm okay. But it's just not good thinking, not good strategy. I need to be the one putting people in the bad positions and putting my pace and my strategy in implementing that into them, and instead of just waiting and sitting back. So this fight is going to be a whole different Ozzy. I feel like I'm going to go back to that killer mind style and just come out for a finish. And I'm ready to, put on that epic style of first round finishes that I'm known for.
With that kind of style, are you fully able to practice that in the gym? I know that little sirs can get wild, but are you fully able to, do that kind of a style in the gym?
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm blessed to have so many amazing style of fighters and different people. Like Bo's one of my favorite. Serge is the man. He's one of the most wildest, and me and him are back and forth with the pace. He's the one guy that will never take a back foot. He's going forward too. So it's an epic battle. But Bo's there with me, and I got a younger kid, Miles. He's still younger, but man, that kid's got heart, and he works out every day, 2 times a day. We got Ty, like I said, he's one of the best in the state in the welterweight division, in my opinion. And he's on his way to big and better things. We got Hondo. So there's a lot of fighters that allow me to be the fighter I need to be and push me to be even better. So I'm thankful and blessed to have the coaches, Coach Matt, Coach John, and just the support I do with all those fighters I've named and more.
From the kid that started out training to now the man, the father, in touch with God, how much different is the why for why you're doing this?
I feel like the journey has been, beautiful, and it's all process, from going from the young wild kid with, faith in God, but not fully trusting in God and walking the life of God, to becoming the dad and man that I need to be, and the spiritual leader of my household. I feel like it's just been a beautiful process, and it's allowed me to see the journey in a whole different aspect. And now with two little ones to show and make them excited about their journeys, it's a beautiful process. And I'm just thankful for everybody from Coach Scott Mauer to Coach John Judy, Tom Vaughn, all the people that have just been a part of this process. Coach Orozco back in the day in wrestling. There's just a lot of coaches and people that have believed in me and has put in the hours to make me the fighter. And it's I'm just so thankful.
Joseph Velazzo stands in between you and victory. Why do you get your hand raised?
I just feel like I'm a better fighter in every area. I feel like he has experience and he's been there, but I feel like if I go out there, and when I go out there and put on my pace and put on the striking clinic that I want to do, I feel like he's gonna break, he's gonna shoot, and at that moment I already know what I'm gonna do, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna be beautiful.
Do you have hidden talent?
Huh?
Do you have a hidden talent?
We'll have to see. There's some things that I've been working on, and I've been, ready to show, and I feel like this is the fight that it's going to allow me to show some of that stuff that I haven't shown yet.
Oh, no. You got showing talents. Those are the fighting ones. No. I was out left field. Any hidden talents that we don't know about?
Oh,
Are you a
oh,
comedian? Do you
hitting
sing? Like, do
talent.
you have any hidden talents?
I mean, I could sing, but I don't sing good. I'm a shower singer. But other hidden talents, I like rock climbing a lot. Like I've done it for a while. I've picking up guitar. So my dad was a big guitarist, and when he passed away, I got one of his guitars. So that's a little talent that I'm trying to sharpen up more and more every day.
What are we doing for the post-fight celebration? Where's that meal? What you got to go eat after this hard weight cut?
I'm getting some green chili chicken enchiladas from somewhere, but for sure after the weight cut, I'm going to go to Joe's Pasta Place. That's my traditional spot to go. I love their Southwest green chili chicken Alfredo. It's just the bomb.
That's 2 times he's brought up enchiladas. Enchiladas on the brain from Ozzy Chavez. We
That's
know
my
what's
favorite.
calling him right now. He needs the enchiladas.
Oh yeah, that's my go-to. That's my hands down. If I could have one meal for the rest of my life, it's that for sure.
It's great to get to talk to you, sir. It's great to get you to see you back in action. Revel Entertainment Center, Fight World, March 21st. Everyone, Fight World 43. HoldMyTicket.com to get your tickets. I think I just hit all the good points, sir. Thank you for joining my fight show today.
Thank you, my brother. You have a good one.
You as well. Ozzy Chavez. And let's be honest, we call him Beast Boy, but the growth, the maturity, Beast Man might be more appropriate. You know what I mean? Every so often, the Kid Dynamite, the Young Bucks, California Kid, you become the man. You drop that boy, Beast Man right now, Ozzy Chavez, and we can see him fighting again here very shortly, March 21st. Combat sports about to be going crazy locally where you think about it. March 14th, Las Cruces, Empire Promotions, 3 amateur title fights. Going to be an extraordinary card from the Pan Am Center. Next weekend after that, the 21st, we get Fight World 43. The 22nd, coming up here in a couple minutes, we will be joined by Mark Hussey. He's going to be a part of the APFC 22 card. That is, again, March 22nd. So the combat sports scene locally going crazy, so busy. Don't forget the 28th, our friends Duke City Championship Wrestling with Get It, Got It, Bueno, HoldMyTicket.com. And then also, I don't know how I'm going to be 2 places at once. We also have Nowhere to Run Kickboxing, returning to the Overtime Sports Bar and Grill, San Mateo and Montgomery, amateur kickboxing, a whole lot going on. Nick is going to join us next week to talk about everything going on as Nowhere to Run still tries to get the amateurs the experience that they so desperately need to take their skills to the next level. Taking your skills to the next level is a lot of what the combat sports journey is about. This weekend, you have one of those promotions that's the biggest feeder to the UFC that pervades that journey towards your biggest dreams. LFA Vice TV, LFA 227 Ventura County Fairgrounds and Event Center, California, Bantamweight main event. LFA going international with a clash that headlines Brazil against Japan. Rafael do Nascimento, belovedly nicknamed Militia, the submission hunter coming off of a ninja choke at LFA 215. Elite Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, elite finishing credentials, 11 wins, 9 finishes, 8 submissions, a fighter who doesn't want to win by points. He wants to force you to tap. He thrives in transitions. He loves to scramble. He doesn't hesitate to throw down, and his ability to chain submissions together make him a danger to anyone on the mat. He's taking on Shuya Kubo from Japan, younger, but actually more experienced and a more balanced finisher. He has 16 wins, 9 finishes. We're going 6 submissions, 3 knockouts. His grappling has him with an ability to compete that shows composure from all that extended cage time. His experience could be an edge if this one is a more drawn out technical battle, but I think it's going to be exciting either way. Could the winner get the call to the Contender Series? Could the winner put themselves in a position for a bantamweight title fight? This one is going to be a crazy scramble. Look for a submission to be a high probability co-main event. You got finisher versus former title challenger as Alan Bagoso faces Arnold Jimenez. Menace has won 4 of 5 plus submission artist. Theo Haig takes on Bellator vet Lance Wright. DAZN this weekend has a IBF WBO super featherweight title fight with Emmanuel Navarrete versus Eduardo Nunez. Got to bring up Emmanuel Navarrete because Ben Wilson compared Navarrete's style to the one and only legend Bob Foster, who we talked about this past Saturday, Cage Minds Fight Hour. It's up on the website, up on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Wanted to bring up Navarrete because that was a close to modern day comparison of the style that the 6'3", 175-pounder implemented in his heyday. I implore you to check out that episode and hear more about the legendary legacy that started the dynamic championships that have accumulated through pugilism here in the state of New Mexico, that rich boxing history. Don't forget April 4th, Abraham Pettis is one of the top prospects coming out of New Mexico, going to be back showcasing his skills. Josh Pitbull Torres, Christian Cabral, Andreas Ray, Maximus Moya, Legacy Boxing Promotions, April 4th here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're going to be getting some of those guys on the show here in the coming weeks. Shout out to Ben Wilson. This coming week, don't forget, guys, Ray Yee is going to be my guest. Thespian, stuntman, martial artist, been in the corner of guys like Donald Cowboy Cerrone, Jordan Espinosa, Damasio Page, Ray Yee, this Saturday, ESPN Radio 1017, The Team, Cage Minds Fight Hour. A lot going on in the world of combat sports as we try to keep up with the present, honor the past, look towards the future. Couldn't do that without the help. Staying energized by Dubby. Energy drink mix. Go over to the website, purchase yours. Cage Minds, the checkout code, get 10% off. Robbie Ray Images, headshots, action shots, your next party, your next event, the next flyer you need, the next promotion that you need, the next commercial that you need. Robbie Ray Media, Robbie Ray Photos, taking care of all of it, keeping you looking good for all that stuff is Barber Gabe, who's going to be in action. APFC 22, Barber Gabe's Fades, and it's barbergabesfades.net to be able to book your appointment or to purchase the incredible Barbers R Us Beard Balm. Don't forget, just not promoted by me, but also approved by last week's guest, Jimmy Dukes. Huge appreciations and thank you to tonight's earlier guests, Josh Oxendine, Emmanuel Sanchez, Ozzy Chavez. And I think we're getting the thumbs up right now. Coming in our main event spot, our final guest of the evening, going to be in action, is Letter Resort and Casino. You can see it on UFC Fight Pass, APFC 22. He fights out of nobody's villains. The Hoss is joining us right now. My Fight Show right now welcomes in the Hoss. Mark Hussey coming off of a win last time out. I know that has to have the good vibes back. How you doing, sir?
Oh yeah, feeling great, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Let's talk about that. A win to get the vibes back in the right direction. And I think all of a sudden they explain the rules to you. You can use your wrestling.
You can wrestle? Yeah, I forget about that sometimes, man.
So you did. Talk about the fight. Talk about the victory. Talk about
Yeah.
the decision. Was it in cage? Was it something that Nick actually convinced you of? Like, where did the wrestling come from?
I mean, for sure, leading up to the fight, there was talks about having to wrestle. You know what I mean? He was a big 6'5". He looked all of 6'6" to me in the cage. You know what I mean? But really, even going into the fight, it's not like it was our game plan to wrestle. We saw, like I said in our post-fight interview, you know what I mean? Like the plan's always to go punch a motherfucker and make it exciting. But man, once I stood in front of that big ass dude and started throwing punches, I was reaching for his head and he was hard to get to. So you might as well go back to the roots. And if you could wrestle him, go wrestle him down. You know what I mean?
You did the wrestling. You did it well.
Thank you.
How did it feel actually implementing it in the cage and putting the grappling to use? Because we know, again, you want to be Justin Gaethje out there.
Yeah, man, pretty much. That's kind of exactly who I told John I want to emulate a style after. And really what felt the best about the fight, man, was I went out there last July when I fought a video, you know what I mean, and didn't have a gas tank. Weight cut got to me real bad. Didn't have 4 minutes in me, let alone 15 minutes. So it felt really good to be in kind of a grindy style match and still feel like I had gas in the tank if we had another round to go, you know what I mean? To look across the cage at round 3 and see him dead, defeated, tired, you know what I mean, pretty much broken is what it looked like, was far more rewarding than even, I mean, it was nice to use my wrestling and realize I still have that and can use it, but really having the gas tank to use it and grind something out like that was huge for me.
So what was the, I guess, achievement in that fight that you were most proud of? It almost sounds like it was the cardio, it was the endurance.
Yeah, man, for sure. And really even like what I was most proud of was before the fight. Like I lived and for this one too, like I've lived the life for the last 8 weeks. Reading up to a video, we were kind of in the air if we were going to fight, but I knew the fight was coming up and I could get a matchup. And 4 weeks out, I was still over 200 pounds. You know what I mean? That's not the life of the martial artist that we were supposed to be living. So it just felt good to do the right things, make all the right workouts, stay on a diet for 8 weeks, just really live the life of a professional athlete like I call myself. You know what I mean? And now that's the life we're living, and that's what I've done for the last 5 weeks also, and we'll continue to do for the next 4 until we go hurt somebody else.
What did you get up to? How much did you get up to
Shoot,
after
man,
the fight
well,
this time around? Because we know that's always a question with you is the weight right
yeah.
now.
Yeah, this time I didn't even get over 200. I might have hit 203 2 weeks after, but that was it. Times before, like leading up to the video fight, I've reached up to like 220, man, and tried to cut down, and it's kind of ridiculous. You know what I mean? I fight at 170 pounds, and I'm really not even a big 170 pounder. I should probably be down one more weight when we get to higher levels and stuff. So I need to stick around that, like 195, 200 mark.
The fight plays out in that fashion where you're able to take it to him, you put the grind on him. It's something that you knew you could always do, or does this prove it a little bit more to you?
It definitely proved a little more. You know, I've known since the beginning that I have that dog in me, and I'm ready to go to war if it need be. You know what I mean? Obviously, we don't get paid by the hour, so if you could do it quickly, it's better to do it that way. But it did feel good to know that I have that grind in me, and I can work my ass off for 15 or hopefully at some point 25 minutes. You know what I mean? So it definitely was nice to have that in my back pocket and realize that it can happen.
From wanting to perform and look like Justin Gaethje, that performance to me was more emblematic of Anthony Hernandez. Is that a version of you that you could live with?
Yeah, for sure, man. You might going out there and breaking people is just as satisfying as knocking them out, to be honest with you. The crowd might like knockouts a little more, but looking across the way and seeing someone know that they were defeated was pretty good too. You know what I mean? Both of us walked away from that fight knowing who won that fight after the last bell rang.
So from a fight philosophy standpoint, how much of a turning point or a learning process was this last fight for you?
Oh, massive, massive, man. Like I know now it's definitely smart to go out there and mix the styles for sure. You know what I mean? Especially when people are like fancying themselves strikers. If you go out there and wrestle them up a little bit, they start drowning a little bit. You know what I mean? If you could take them into deep waters and continue to drown them, I'll take all the air from them in any fight that comes up.
Everybody made a lot to do on that night about the entrance that was made by your teammate a little bit later in the night with Jalen and John, and they were in a groove and they were catching it. We know you see that in the gym, but I'm not sure if you were watching or listening to the Cage Minds Fight Hour when I had Jalen on, because I credited you. I was like, I think John was already in a groove from the moment Mark started like dancing out way in front of everybody that night.
Shit, we have fun over here at Nobodiesville, man. You know what I mean? We love what we do, and we're having fun out here. So I think we have the best walkouts in MMA. You know what I mean? We're out there living our dream, and you can tell it. You know what I mean? The smile on our faces isn't fake. We really love to be there, and this is the best thing that we do in our life. You know what I mean? So you might as well go enjoy it.
How much is the energy from the coach, from John, infectious within the group?
Oh, huge, man. Huge. Like, we were just talking about how we're all kind of a goofy team, man. You know what I mean? For a bunch of fighters, we're about as unserious as it gets. And that probably stems from the man up at the top. You know what I mean? The dude's a wildcat, full personality, and really the whole team is like that. You know what I mean? So it's a really cool thing we're building over here.
And why is having that kind of mentor and that kind of fun versus serious kind of mentality the right balance for you?
Yeah, true, man. Well, at the end of the day, like we're in a very serious thing, so you don't have to make it more than it is. You know what I mean? If you can make it a little lighthearted and have some fun with your teammates that you're beating the hell out of all the time and enjoy what you're doing, you know what I mean? That we're in too hard of a sport, too hard of a craft to not enjoy it. So if you don't enjoy it, you're in the wrong place.
The first time I met Mark, I believe he had just got done getting punched in the face. Well, probably actually was the day before when he was having to get on the scale. But then when I actually got to talk to him was after he was done getting punched in the face in the smallest ring that I've still ever seen. Yeah, even smaller than the Trigon.
Yeah, them nowhere to run days were crazy, man.
What was it? Was it just the thrill of getting a strike? It seemed like that you almost fell in love with it in that moment, getting to go out there and do it for real. And we would say under the bright lights, but there was like 200 of us and it was freezing cold outside. It was kind of
yeah, man. Yep. Yeah, man. You know, this is it's the best drug on the planet. And if you're the type of person that you let this bug bite you, I don't think you can let it off you. You know what I mean? Grew up a wrestler all my life, so combat was part of who I am. It is part of who I am and probably will always be. You know what I mean? So really going out there and hearing the crowd reacts in wrestling, but the crowd reacts a hell of a lot more when you go punch people, you know what I mean? So that's a very addicting feeling.
And was it all those hundreds of wrestling matches that you had growing up that made this thrill of standing and baying that much more exciting because you've done the wrestling thing for so long?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's definitely a big part of it. You know what I mean? I wrestled all my life, so I'm willing to go out there and scrap. And then at the end of the day, I still, like we showed the last time, I still know the wrestling is in my back pocket. And then when we get to the higher levels, I know I can defend some takedowns when it gets down to it. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I still understand we're in the entertainment business. You know what I mean? So you got to give the people what they want, and they don't necessarily want to watch wrestling.
Besides, use your wrestling. What do you think some of the best advice that head mentor of yours, St. Nick Gonzalez, has given you?
Shoot, man, it's supposed to be hard, man. My days with Nick, like technique wise, I'm pretty much John's guy now, but Nick's still there because he's gritty as hell, and that's how I grew up. You know what I mean? I grew up wrestling, and I'm used to that grit and, you know what I mean, hard work. There's a lot of people, and especially now with like the science of working out getting so big that some people don't think you have to work hard, and I disagree. We do a painful and very hard sport. So if your training isn't hard and doesn't hurt and make you want to quit, you're not doing the right kind of training in my eyes. And that's what Nick is there for sure.
And what do you feel out of the many are some of the specific benefits for you of working with a head coach, as you've pointed out, like a world champion, John Dodson?
Yeah. Oh man, he's made worlds difference in my technique. You know what I mean? We've now been working for 3 or 4 years, and you could really, if I get striking, hopefully I can make it look like it in the cage at some point too. But in the gym, like my feet move differently. His insight, his fighting IQ, everything like that is just awesome, man. It's next level, and there's a reason he fought for a title twice. You know what I mean? Then at the end of the day, John might be a cool personality filled cat, but that is one violent son of a bitch also. You know what I mean? Yeah, that dude really gets to talking, and he likes to hurt people, and that's what we're all here for. So we all kind of vibe with that idea.
You've mentioned it in the interview. You've mentioned it when I've talked to you before. Mentioned it a couple times actually this interview. Living the lifestyle, not just acting like you're doing it, but really living the lifestyle. And we know the first thing that we're going to point to is keeping that weight in check, because that's been a big detail. Sir. But there are many other elements besides just the weight that also encompass living the lifestyle. What have some of those details been that you've had to really focus in on?
Sure, man. Like just making the little sacrifices. You know what I mean? It gets hard to call it a sacrifice because what I'm chasing is so much bigger than what a lot of my friends are, or where a lot of my friends are. You know what I mean? So giving up the time hanging out with them and still making the workouts. The biggest one for me is my diet. You know what I mean? Staying solid on a diet is hard, and that's one of those sacrifices that you have to give up. You know what I mean?
A 3-1 opponent stands across from you at APFC 22. We're talking about 3 first-round finishes. Does not come out to play is Mr. Crows. Not really sure how we say the first name, so before I butcher it in 8 different ways, we're just going to go with the last name that looks a lot more pronounceable. And guys, I'll figure it out here in the next couple of days. I should have done that earlier before the interview, but yeah, it's been a busy day. My bad on that one, but still, a monster in front of you. What do you think of the opposition?
You know, man, he's a tough dude for sure. He likes to stand and bang, likes to throw big punches. I think it's going to be a very fun fight. You know what I mean? Neither one of us looks scared of a war. He's coming up from 155, so he doesn't look like that big of a cat. This is one of the first times ever you'll see me be the taller guy in the ring, that's for sure. Yeah, Dapology and all them haven't met like 5'8", so it's the first time I'm going to look down on somebody that's a little different. You know, I mean, really just can't get sucked into the bang with this cat. He looks like he likes to punch hard, looks like he can throw hard, and it's going to be a fun one for sure. It's going to be a good one for the fans.
You've had highs and lows so far in this professional run after a great amateur run. What is key now that you're feeling to get on a roll, to get that momentum, to have everything building in the direction that you want to?
Shoot, man, really just keep making decisions that I'm making right now. You know what I mean? I'm not into padding records, so I don't want to say picking the right fights, man, but I want to fight tough people and fight tough people all the way up. And that means that I have to train hard and have to do the right things on the outside. And that's what I plan to do. You know what I mean? I really don't I don't vibe with these guys that are 10-1, but they fought in Alaska, or they fought cab drivers and shit like that. You know what I mean? I want to fight dogs, and that's what I'm here to do. I believe I'm on that level. I believe I'm that kind of fighter, and that's what I want to go do in this career.
There were amateur fights at heavyweight, and then as soon as we started having Mark move down, I believe you saw some dudes at middleweight and welterweight now that have been 6'5" and 6'3". It just almost seems unfair after leaving heavyweight, right?
Bro, they just keep throwing me these tall guys. 170s just keep getting taller. That's why when I saw 5 foot on something finally, I was like, damn, all right. I've been punching up for the last 3 years, man. It's ridiculous.
Not to mention, as you're expanding in this game and you're maturing, there's a big role that you serve at the gym. And what does that mean and been like for you to have some of that almost, older statesman mentality that you're serving as?
Yeah, like I said, I think we're building something special over here at Nobodiesville, and then we're really just getting started. We have have a good team of amateurs that have been around for a year, 2 years now. You know what I mean? And I feel like I have to set an example for those people. You know what I mean? There's me, Henry, Jalen are the pros aside from John, obviously. You know what I mean? And those dudes, especially the youngsters that are coming in, even just the weekend warriors. You know what I mean? Hearing those people say that they look up to us and are watching what we're doing, it makes you want to make the right decisions and take the right path. You know what I mean?
It's easy to remember. March 22nd, APFC 22 is Letta Resort and Casino. If you're too far away to be there live, which I encourage you to be there live if you're able
For
to
sure.
be. MMA, one of the most exciting sports on the planet, to be able to sit there, watch, and see in person. But you can also watch on UFC Fight Pass. Not a bad second option. You're going to give us the easy answer, right? You're looking for a knockout. You're looking for a war. That's your expectations.
I'm looking for a finish, man. You know what I mean? That's it felt good to grind one out, but like I said earlier, we don't get paid by the hour, and if I go make more money in less time, that's the plan all day long. I wouldn't be surprised if I do come out and wrestle a little bit. Dude's a striker, squares up, so you might as well go. I have seen him get tired, so you might as well go tire him out. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have the gas tank to go as long as we have to. So I'll be in his face the whole time, and I ain't going nowhere.
Jalen defends his title. I believe
Yes,
there's
sir.
a couple amateurs that we're going to be talking to here in the coming weeks from the squad that are also on the undercard. So what is the vibe like with everyone at this point in camp getting ready here a couple weeks out?
Oh man, we're all grinding hard. You know what I mean? Everyone's in here putting in the work daily. Most of us 2-3 times a day. You know what I mean? Especially that Jalen Fogler, man. He's a tough one to be a training partner with, especially when he has championship fights coming up. You know what I mean? He's the champion in our weight division for a reason, and you feel that when you stand in front of him for the last 5 weeks and the next 4. So it's definitely fun, and then it's nice. We have a few, like you said, a few of the younger guys. A couple of them getting in there for their second or third bout. Some of them getting in there for the first, I think, and for sure most of them are on the biggest card they've been on yet. Besides, Brandon's been there before. You know what I mean? But the other two haven't fought on nearly the stage that we're going to go fight on. So it's exciting to see those guys be excited for that and get ready for it.
Last thing before I let you go, what is the feeling like when you hear your music hits? Because we see that exuberance that comes out of you dancing down there. But how do you describe the feeling those minutes before the fight when you're making that walk?
Yeah, man. Well, really, dudes even at the highest level will tell you, no matter how long you've done this, when you're in the back, it's kind of your mind's playing tricks on you. You know what I mean? You have to tell yourself that you signed up to be here and this is what you love to do, and your mind don't want to do something that hard. So you have to talk to it, you know what I mean? And then really that's kind of the moment that all shuts up for me. Once that music comes on, I'm very quickly reminded, like, damn, this is my life. This is what I love. And that's why the smile and the dancing comes out, man, because I'm in my element and I feel that.
I appreciate the time, bro. It was great getting to talk to you. Thanks for coming on my fight show.
I appreciate you, my brother. Always a pleasure.
What an episode. Mark the Hoss Hussey. Always appreciate a conversation with him. Ozzy Chavez, go back so many years, getting to talk with him. A pleasure getting to meet and talk with for the first time Joshua Oxendine and everything coming up in his BKFC career. Second time getting to talk to Emmanuel Sanchez in a short amount of time. Got to talk to him a trio of times back with Bellator. Always a pleasure to talk to someone that has taken the journey, that has been in the gyms, that has put in the grind that he has done. My Fight Show, cageminds.com. And when I tell you guys the world of combat sports is fast, furious, and crazy, while we were interviewing Mark Hussey, I did get a notification, and we do have some more breaking news. Thiago Santos is replacing Muhammad Usman in the game-bred bare-knuckle MMA $500,000 tournament starting in April in the Dominican Republic. That had been a huge question to a lot of people. How was somebody that was suspended by the UFC and then got their release, and it was a PED suspension, how were they just going to resume their MMA career after getting released and jump on over to another promotion? Well, Muhammad Usman is not. Thiago Santos, if you'll indulge with me, last time we saw his name in the news was at the BKFC Fighter Summit when he was announced to be part of the roster. Haven't seen him since then or heard his name, but he'll now be doing bare knuckle MMA in April, taking on Guto Innocence, the bare knuckle and glory veteran, replacing Muhammad Usman. CageMinds.com, Cage Minds Combat Sports News, YouTube and Facebook. Many of you are watching there. If you're over on Instagram or not, it's at @CageMinds_CSN. That's also the X, the TikTok, and the Threads account to support on social media. Robbie Ray Images to get your headshots to make your next event look as good as can be. Let's fill up some time with some commercials, advertising options available. Robbie Ray Media, we can put together the commercial if you need it. Barber, Gabe's, Fades. I'll be there tomorrow. Booked my appointment, and I suggest that you do the same at barbergabesfades.net. It's where I get the awesome Barbers Are Us beard balm that keeps my beard in the submission it needs to look its best. MMA After Hours is up. We'll have Pro Wrestling After Hours talking about the Elimination Chamber out tomorrow. 51 guests in our 15 episodes. Every like, every share, it means the world. Every view, I appreciate all of you. Cage Minds Fight Hour this Saturday, 9 to 10 a.m., ESPN Radio Albuquerque, 1017 The Team. Video will be up on YouTube. This week, we're talking with Ray Yee. Have a good night. Enjoy the fights. This has been My Fight Show.